Hello. Welcome back to Daily Dhamma, a letter to our children. Just so you know, there's more to Dhamma than Buddhism. And with that, on my mark. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. And that's William Shakespeare, Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 5. It takes a certain level of maturity to admit the limits of our knowledge, skills, and abilities. The more we learn from science, the less we seem to know. Let's not rush to decide what's best for others. Don't just do something, stand there. Distinguish that some things are in our power while others are not. In our own power are the will and all voluntary actions. Out of our power, the body, its parts, property, parents, brothers, children, country, and in short, all our fellow beings. Where then shall we place good? In what shall we define it to consist? In things within our own power. And that's Epictetus Discourses 1.22.10. The Stoics have a reputation for being dour, grumpy old men, but we take a different view. The Stoics knew that self-control is the only kind of control that doesn't oppress others. Stoicism is right in line with the Dhamma, Taoism, Confucianism, and even cognitive behavioral therapy. We might, maybe, perhaps on a good day, have a shot at controlling our own thoughts, attitudes, and actions. But there is no reason to believe we have any agency at all over other people, places, things, or institutions. Most of the calamity in the world today arises because we can't tell the difference between what's inside our heads and what's before our eyes. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change. Help us to mind our own business and keep our hands to ourselves. The vanity of the selfless, even those who practice utmost humility, is boundless. And that's Eric Hoffer from The True Believer, Thoughts on the Nature of Mass Movements. He's another guy we're going to hear a lot from in this book. Virtue signaling to let everyone else know just how enlightened we are is all the rage today, and the same could be said of this book. We wrote it as a daily reminder to ourselves of the limits of our insights. We decidedly do not think we've got the answers, and certainly do not think the world would be better if everyone agreed with us. If this is useful, fine. If it's not useful, fine. The beginning of love is to let those we love be perfectly themselves and not to twist them to fit our own image. Otherwise, we love only the reflection of ourselves we find in them. And that's Thomas Merton from No Man is an Island. Expectations are resentments under construction. That includes our well-intentioned wishes for others, and it includes their freedom to make their own choices. This is especially true with our children. We have to continuously restrain ourselves, practice restraint of tongue and pen, to avoid kibitzing with grown adults, people who are responsible for their own lives and are not helpless. Sorry when we stray, guys. Our ego is not our amigo. We expect too much, then get huffy when disappointed. We have inside our head a comprehensive list of things other people can do to make us more comfortable. And even if we don't communicate our desires, we expect others to read our minds. When people fail to do so, we explode with a sense of entitlement. Worse yet, we've got Velcro in our heads that gets attached to an endless list of wants that can never be satisfied. We become hungry ghosts, preta, greedy, demanding, and insatiable. Humbly putting others before ourselves means curtailing our need to be in charge and get everything we want. Humility means acceptance of life on life's terms. The antidote to chronic self-centeredness is gratitude. We must learn to count our blessings rather than tally our grievances. All this is difficult for micromanaging control freaks like us. Alas. Another of our favorites is Miyamoto Musashi, who is a local boy made good. He's from Okayama Prefecture. And he wrote the Dokudo, The Way of the Ronin. Those are masterless samurais. Number 1, accept everything just the way it is. Miyamoto Musashi, Dokudo. Miyamoto Musashi was a ronin, a masterless samurai, who lived from 1584 to 1645. He was Japan's most accomplished swordsman, undefeated in 61 duels. The guy in second place won 33. He wrote 21 precepts for being a ronin, the first of which is above. Humility and acceptance are inextricably intertwined. This is the world we live in. We challenge it at our peril. Of course, sometimes we do fight the system, but there's always a price to pay. If we choose to go it alone, we can't blame anyone else for the outcome. We stole this next from Norm MacDonald to add our 22nd precept. Number 22. There's nothing cooler than being a lone wolf, except at wolf picnics when you don't have a partner for the wolf wheelbarrow races. His dojo, the training center, is still in operation. It's not too far from here. But it does smell like 400 years of workouts. So there's that. We can be happy or we can be right. We can seldom be both. We either surf or we fight. If you want to fight, that's okay. Go ahead and do that. It's your choice. You've got free will. But don't be confused about who chose that route. The deadly sin of pride underlies all egotism. Here, we are not speaking of the authentic pride a parent has for a child or caring enough to do our best. We're talking about hubris, the overweening conceit that we know best and have the right to force others to do our will. Hubris is arrogating to ourselves what is rightfully God's. It's commonplace among politicians and rabble-rousers, and it is the opposite of humility. We're told in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13, that we have 3 gifts: faith when we have doubt, hope when we feel despair, and charity. And he goes to some lengths to indicate that that's not in the sense of giving alms to the poor, but giving other people the benefit of the doubt. These are eternal verities if only we were humble enough to use them. Thinking that a small group of people, even those who agree with us, are wise enough to rearrange the world is hubris. Hubris is an ancient trope. Nimrod built the Tower of Babel. Creon refused Antigone's brother a proper burial, and Icarus ascended too close to the sun. Best to say not for sure and leave it at that. Note: all biblical quotes in this book are from the King James Version of the Bible. Not to denigrate anybody else's version, but that's what Dhamma Bum was raised on. There is a big difference between acceptance and ego. Edging God out stunts our growth. We simply cannot calm our mind and tame our heart until we learn to let things go. Embracing humility, acceptance, and gratitude seems counterintuitive in a world that craves victory at any cost, but that's because we value the wrong stuff. All the money and power in the world will not heal a broken heart or mend a twisted soul. Establishing dominance over the battalion might feel good in the short run, but it won't bring back our child or partner. We're just looking through the wrong end of the telescope. Acceptance is dealing with life on life's terms, as opposed to obsessions, which are an effort to manipulate and control the outside world. When we insist on doing everything our way, we lock ourselves into a futile struggle with the universe over events and issues we manifestly do not and cannot control. Gratitude is the antidote to self-pity. It is loving what we have, not lusting after things we have not. This is the world we live in. It is just this way. Accept it and be grateful. Acceptance and gratitude are the twin pillars of our practice. This is the world that we live in. We don't live in a parallel universe. When we are obsessed with stuff, we gotta have it, we gotta have it. That is tanha, or hunger. What we know is that that leads to suffering. And the only way that we can stop suffering is by not clinging to, clamoring for, craving stuff that we don't have. Those are eternal truths, iron laws of the universe that are not specific to any one religion, race, group of people, probably even planets. God is greater than .gov. Are men the property of the state, or are they free souls under God? And that's Cecil B. DeMille from his prologue to the wonderful movie, The Ten Commandments. That's an excellent question, and one that drives much of this book. DeMille didn't have big tech to deal with in 1956, but Big Brother's siren song is the same as it ever was. Jeremy Bentham's panopticon has been around since the 1780s, but is only now coming into its full expression with one nation under surveillance. The urge to micromanage others remains among us. Leviathan is just better equipped today. First, do no harm. Each of us should take the Hippocratic Oath. We can help best by minding our own business keeping our hands to ourselves, and not being so sure we know what's good for other people and their children. Unsolicited advice is criticism. And that's Dennis Anderson. It is a very short step from we believe X to be our brother or we must kill you. Remember Socrates, who always gave good advice. A jury of his fellow citizens sentenced him to death by poisoning, and he drank it. So there's that. We want to be very clear that our declaration of beliefs is not a condemnation of other people's beliefs. We're not telling anyone what to think, feel, or do. We're explaining to our children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren what we think, feel, and have done. If it's useful, fine. If it's not useful, read something else. Many problems we experience come from looking in the wrong end of the telescope. Our focus should be service to others, not ourselves. If we fit ourselves to service, we won't mooch off the tribe. It's irresponsible to scam quote unquote free stuff. The fact that we don't pay for it means it's paid for by somebody else, usually a gainfully employed taxpayer. We are looking at things backwards if we think people owe us stuff. The same goes for finding fault. When we're quick to criticize the mistakes of others, we are completely missing our part in problems. How do we contribute to chaos with our expectations, thoughtless actions, and lack of mindfulness? Our attitudes and behaviors are something we can actually do something about, so that's where our attention should be focused. Other people are not here to serve us. We're here to serve them. It is amazing to us how many paths lead to God. Maybe all paths lead to God. We were recently introduced to the first chief Ashkenazi rabbi of Israel, Abraham Isaac Kook, and what he had to say closely mirrored something that we have long believed, the perennial philosophy. Their findings can be summarized in 3 statements, which Aldous Huxley, following Leibniz, has called the perennial philosophy, because they appear in every age and civilization. 1. There is an infinite, changeless reality beneath the world of change. 2. This same reality lies at the core of every human personality. 3. The purpose of life is to discover this reality experientially, that is, to realize God while here on earth. And that is Eknath Easwaran in his translation of the Bhagavad Gita. Gifts too numerous to count have come to us from India. We are grateful indeed. Just saying, Hinduism is to Buddhism as Judaism is to Christianity. That is to say, the younger religions take a lot of their cosmology from their elders, and there's a lot of overlap between those. And that is something that we're very grateful for. The many forms of Dhamma that are prevalent in our world, it's just everywhere, lead us to believe that what Ajahn Chah said, that all religions are cars of different colors going to the same place. We really believe that. Here's the deal. If we look for the divine spark in the breast of the person in front of us and relate to them as if we were talking to God, because that's who we actually are talking to, then we will be okay. And if we forget that, we will not be okay. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time. Namaste.